Thank you. Hi everyone, I'm Ghislain. I'm a compulsive eater, compulsive overeater. Please God, take away my fear, take away my ego. Help me set aside everything I think I know about you, about myself, about others, and about my own recovery. So I'm gonna have an open mind to experience with all these things. Please help me see the truth. My house is going all of the sudden. But that's all right. I heard something in a meeting after the steps, and it really spoke to me. It says these steps are the heart of our program. They contain a depth that we could hardly have guessed when we started. As we work them, we experience a spiritual transformation. Over time, we establish a relationship with a power greater than ourselves. Each of us coming to an understanding of a higher power that is personal to us. And that really spoke to me and allowed, it spoke to me because it is my truth. So I'll try and go through these 12 steps backwards from 12 to 1. And step 12 talks about having had a spiritual awakening. As a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to compulsive overeaters and to practice this principle in all our affairs. And each step has a spiritual principle, and 12 is service. And through service, I carry the message. Service is, yes, sponsoring, helping someone. Service is picking up the phone when it rings. Service is offering outreach. Service is service, making the meeting happen, making the numbers. And I've come to learn that through these meetings. And not only that, I've realized that the more service I give, the better my self-esteem feels. A service has turned into estimable act for me, and therefore every time, whether I'm aware of it or not, my self-esteem is building up because I came in with my self-esteem right on the ground, like inexistent. I could not look you in the eyes because I felt so broken. And service has allowed me to slowly build that up. Step 11 talk about subtle prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understand Him. Praying only for knowledge of His will and for us and the power to carry that out. And the spiritual principle is spiritual awareness. And in that, the word conscious is what springs to mind here. I need to make that conscious effort. It's not when, I remember or when I feel like I have to consciously build that relationship. And to me, it means there are things that I can negotiate around every day. How do I get that spiritual conscious contact with my higher power? Through writing every morning, through meditation, through, listening and hearing and reading the literature. And I need to remember I don't have to do any of this perfectly because perfection has been the thorn in my side all my life, where, I have started things and left them because I felt I couldn't do it perfectly. But learning to let go of that perfection today has been key to me carrying on every day imperfectly and being okay within me with that, without fighting myself. And the next step really speaks to that because the spiritual principle is perseverance. Step 10, continue to take personal inventory. When we were wrong, promptly admitted it. And it's not if I am wrong, it's when I am wrong because I am going to be wrong. I am going to come short. I'm a human being. And that is, what I do. I don't need to be perfect. But what I'm learning in recovery is there is a way today. When I am wrong, I don't need to hide in shame. I don't need to hide in that space where all I want to do is become so small because I feel so worthless. Today, I have, an opportunity to say sorry. I have an opportunity to reflect on how I can do better. And that is what, these steps are teaching me. Uh, Number 9, spiritual principle is love. Make direct and meant to search people wherever possible, except when to do so. Would injure them or others, and love to myself. Again, non-existent when I came into this room. I couldn't know, I didn't know what it meant to care for myself because the food has taken every aspect of my life. And at some point, it felt like love, diving into the food. But it got to a point where, it started to become just a punishment, a painful experience. And the love had gone out of the window, and I couldn't love myself, never mind loving others, because I didn't have it in me. I didn't know how to. And making amends to people, first of all, making amends to myself by choosing recovery to the best of my ability. That's the first love. And then making amends to others that I am conscious and I know that I have offended, I have done wrong things to. And making amends, something that my sponsor told me earlier on, is not a process that have to stop my steps or my recovery going forward. I have wronged a lot of people in my 40 odd years before I found recovery. And if I don't manage to make all my amends, it doesn't mean I stop my recovery. I can't. The moment I start that process and have made one or two amends, I am I am encouraged to move forward into my step, to start living this recovery fully with the knowledge that with God's help, I'll tackle all my amends one by one. There's no time pressure here. I don't have to push. That's the only way. I just need to keep asking God to guide me to do that. Step 8 is about making the list, and the spiritual principle is self-discipline. Self-discipline. Again, it's interesting to me how all of these are linked so beautifully. This principle, uh, self-discipline is not to be hard on myself. That's not what I've understood this to be, but it's me having the desire to do something for myself. And when I do that and I commit to it, and it's a commitment, there's no other way. Either, when it talks about half measures avail us nothing. And that is the commitment, that is the self-discipline. I have to commit to this every single day because I can't keep clean on yesterday's shower. So every day I have to apply that discipline and do it every single day. Uh, and again, it doesn't have to be perfect. What a knowledge to keep perfectionism to the side. Today, I can only manage 1 minute of meditation. That is good enough for today. Today, I can only write half a page connecting with my God. That is good enough today. And that has really been key. Number 6 and 7, they are links for me. They are kind of one of the same way. 7 talk about humbly asking Him to remove our shortcoming, and humility is the principle here. And 6 talks about we're entirely ready to have God remove this defect of character. So in 6, we have defect of character. In 7, we have shortcoming. And I heard a podcast once where someone was asking Bill, I mean, what's the difference between shortcoming and character defect? Why and Bill answered, that uh, In school, his English teacher taught him, you can't repeat the same words all the time. You have to, change them up a bit. So character defect or, a shortcoming is, they're the same, I've understand. And I can just decide, oh, yeah, I'm in recovery now. You can go. Dishonesty, you can find your way. Perfectionism, just go away. I'm here. I don't decide when they go. Those two steps for me, I'm not gonna get over them. I'm not gonna finish them. Every single day, I say, God, please take away, my fear, my procrastination, my envy, my jealousy, my perfectionism. They are still with me. But today, the difference is one, I can recognize them and name them when I'm present in her. And all I have to do is hand them to God. God, this is still showing up in your own time, because I don't have that power to just, get them off. And, the willingness in six is me willing to take action. Like dishonesty was an integral part of my fabric. I couldn't open my mouth and be honest about anything in my life before. And that's not just gonna vanish. But today, every now and then I'm like, oh, that's not the real story. It's just like, okay, the willingness here is I need to go back and fix it and tell the true story and change the word that needs changing and change the part of the story that needs changing. Do I do that perfectly? Hell no. Do I don't have to, but I have to be willing. And that is what that's teaching me. Step five, integrity, which is linked to, honesty and being fully invested, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being, the exact nature of our wrongs. I certainly told my first sponsor I did my step five with, things that I genuinely thought I would take to my grave, because the idea of telling another human being was just unfathomable. I could not think that happening. Uh, but it did. I had to have that integrity. And I didn't just pluck it because I needed it, I wanted it. God granted it to me because I started the process. And yeah, I have to do it. Step four, I have to make that searching, fearless, and moral inventory of myself. And it was so daunting. I literally was still writing my step four until the call for my step five, because I procrastinated. I kicked. I did not want to do it. But somebody said the only wrong way to do it is not to do it. Again, it does not have to be perfect. What I put on that time, as long as I'm not consciously remembering stuff and choosing not to put them on, then I'm fine. I'm just doing it. And that's war. And I know step five was that moment where I felt something, that spiritual awakening, spiritual, whatever you want to call it. Doing that step five, what gave me that to start with. And there's a lot of, healing in that I experienced. And obviously, step four, the principle is courage. It does take a lot of it to sit down and to really search every granny, every bit of my life, and be willing to put it on paper. Uh, Again, I don't have to aim for perfection. I just have to do it. Uh, Step three, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. And faith is the principle of the spiritual principle. And I'm grateful that I had a higher power before I came in. But, having a higher power and handing my decision in my life to my higher power is I know that ball game I still have to do that every day. I've not mastered that because my self-will can be quite powerful. My self-will, when it stops in, that's it. I'm off. And then I'll go to the rounds and then realize, oh crap, okay, I've just been struggling here. And then I'll come back to God and hand it over
2 minutes
say,
left,
please,
Ghislain.
thank you, and say, please help. What is the next right thing to do? How do I face this particular one? And it's an ongoing process. It's an ongoing thing. Step two, came to believe that power greater than ourselves will restore us to sanity, and there's hope. And a lot of the time when I'm writing my gratitude list, I remember to put on there having faith and hope. It's not giving God's granting me that, and that is helping me, that is holding me, that is guiding me to have hope, to have a higher power. The reality is here is, the natural state my higher power wants me to be in is sanity. My disease, the food has taken my sanity all my life. And today I'm trying to get it back with the help of God, one day at a time, one moment at a time. So that faith helps me. Step one, spiritual principle is faith and hope of one, and that's three and two. One is honesty, the honesty to face the fact that I am powerless and my life has become more manageable. That takes a lot of honesty and that takes some realization because the fact that I could go to bed every night crying my eyes that I have just had this day with food, yet I'll wake up the next morning and go straight back into the food. That blows my mind. If that is not powerlessness, I don't know what is. And I need to face that. I see my time. I need to face that. I need to be honest about that. I need to tell you that that is the kind of person I am, and I've got that issue, and that's when I allow God to come in. And these steps, I don't get them done. I live them the best I can every day for the rest of my life, and that is where the recovery is. So thank you, Bas. 30 seconds over. Sorry.